So this is a clip regarding pathological demand avoidance, or PDA, with regard to little people, so strategies for children. I see parents a lot with working with or responding to their children who are PDA, so they're quite demand avoidant. And as an example, child pushes something they shouldn't. Don't do that. Child either ignores it or does it more. Don't do this, eat that, do this, stop it, put that down, you're going to hurt somebody. And it's almost like the child just either sees it as white noise and zones it out, this selective deafness for any demands that are inconvenient to them, or sometimes actually saying no or saying stop or doing those parental duty of care statements actually motivate the child to go further. Some children just say no to everything. Do you want to drink? No. Do you want to go? No. And then you go without them, and then they have a meltdown because you didn't take them with them. You didn't take them with you. The PDA is like a little animal inside this child. And this little animal is like terrified of being controlled by anyone else. So you ask to do something and they do it, they feel controlled. So a lot of times they'll be like, do you want a drink? No. And then I'll just pour a drink and wait. And then they'll come over. I want that drink. Okay, fine. Or do you want to go? No. And then I'll wait for a bit. And then you'll see them just sneak out. The best way to manage little people with PDA is don't focus on directions. Don't be yes, no, don't do, whatever. Focus on consequences, like natural consequences, not punishment. So as an example, I was at a facility recently and we had a program on for kids, and there was a kid climbing this fort that was too high and he was going to sleep in this tiled floor. And I was like, oh my gosh, if I say get down, he's going to climb higher. So I said, Tammy, get the first aid kit, quick. This kid's going to fall and crack his head all over the floor. There's going to be blood everywhere. And Tammy went, oh gosh, and went and got the first aid kit. And this little person, you saw me kind of freak out, and he was like, when he starts climbing down the fort really carefully. Because what I did was I showed the consequence. When you show the consequence, it enables them to make a different decision at their own direction, as compared to saying, don't do this, which they immediately will fight. So another example, where child playing with fidgets and keeps eating them or putting them in his mouth. And mum was going, no, no, no. And child just totally ignoring, not even paying attention to mum. I suddenly ran across and went, oh my gosh, are you okay? Oh, your throat, are you choking? Are you all right? Just cough it, cough it, cough it. And this kid's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And you could see him freaking out. And like, he was fine. And I'm like, oh, sorry. Oh, I've just seen so many children choke on those fidgets. I was really scared for you. Are you okay? You breathing? And he's looking at me like, yeah. And he sort of put the fidget down and looked at me. And I sat back down. And then I saw him sort of zone out and watch TV a bit later and go to put it back in his mouth. And then he went, and he kind of looked at me. Yet again, I showed the consequence, and I looked really scared. Like, I was concerned for him. I wasn't telling him what to do. I had massive empathy. But I was showing him a consequence and letting him make a decision. The other thing you got to remember with pathologically demand avoidant children is if you're going to the pool or if you're going out to an excursion and on the way in the car, you go through the rules. Remember, when we get there, honey, don't do this and don't do that and don't do this. You know what? You're actually giving them a checklist. You're giving them a list of things to do. You've just added to their to-do list. So they'll get there and they'll, run on the tiles and jump in the deep end and do all the things that you went over. And parents will be like, I went over it all in the car with him. Like I said, every single thing. And I'm like, oh, mate, if you're PDA or even ADHD, then saying don't do this, that's all I can think about. Like you say, don't touch the statue in the room. And I tell you right now, I'll go into that room and I can think of nothing else but touching that statue. And you'll talk to me for a few seconds about something. And then you'll be like, okay, is that okay? And I'm like, what? I don't know what you just said. All I was thinking about was touching the damn statue because I'm ADHD and that stuck.